Chosen ones, you may not fully grasp how significant it is that you are here, in this very moment, hearing these very words. You have walked roads that most people would never dare to tread. You have endured nights that felt endless and trials that tested the very core of who you are. But through it all, you have held on to a glimmer of hope, a spark of faith. And now, heaven itself declares, you passed the test. Now comes the reward. Take a deep breath right now, and let that truth sink in. The season of trials was never meant to punish you, it was meant to refine you. Like a craftsman who works day and night to shape a raw piece of marble into a magnificent statue, God has been chiseling away everything that does not serve your destiny. You may have felt the pain, but you did not see the masterpiece forming beneath the surface. All you saw was the dust, the pieces that fell away, yet, in the midst of that carving and polishing, a divine purpose was being revealed. Look back for a moment on the path you took to get here. Recall every fiery trial and every heartbreak that nearly stole your breath. Remember the tears you cried when you felt like there was no one to understand the weight of your burdens. The world may have overlooked your struggle, but God never did. He watched your every step, counted each tear, and cheered you on in moments you felt completely alone. Each battle you faced was actually a test, a preparation for something far greater than your former self could handle. And now, chosen ones, hear this. Because you have remained faithful, because you refused to quit, because you cried out to God when everything in you wanted to scream, "I'm done," you have passed the test. You have proven your resilience, your character, your commitment to the calling on your life. Instead of letting the storms break you, you let them build you. You rose above the pain, and even in your weakest moments you found strength in the promise of a God who never fails. Allow these words to penetrate the places of you that still harbor doubt. Maybe you look at your life and see imperfections, struggles that have not fully cleared. Let me assure you, perfection was never the requirement. Obedience was. Faith was. Surrender was. And you gave all those things when it mattered most. That is why heaven is announcing that your reward is on the horizon. I want you to let that promise settle into your spirit. Close your eyes if you need to and imagine a world where you are no longer bound by limitation or fear. Instead, you step into the fullness of who God created you to be. You wake up with joy, with clarity, with purpose. You move through each day confident that every resource you need will appear right when you need it. This is not a mere fantasy, it is the unfolding reality for those who have passed the test. The tests of life were not sent to crush you. They were allowed so you would discover a strength that only emerges under pressure. It is easy to have faith when everything is smooth. It is another thing entirely to hold on to hope when your dreams seem delayed, or when people you trusted walk away without explanation. Yet you kept pressing on, and in that perseverance you became unstoppable. Chosen ones, now it is time to claim the reward that has been promised. But hear me well, the reward is not just material things. Yes, financial provision is coming, and many of you will see doors open for business, for employment, for investments that will stun you. Yes, relationships will be healed, hearts will be mended, and new alliances will form that take your life to the next level. But the ultimate reward goes deeper than that. It is the expansion of your spirit, the divine peace that settles over you, the knowledge that you have been approved by the one who matters most. As you listen to these words, feel the shift happening in your atmosphere. The burdens that once felt immovable begin to lift. The confusion that clouded your judgment becomes clarity. The chaos that kept you awake at night yields to an unshakable peace. This is the sign that the test has ended, that your next chapter is beginning. Let this message confirm what your heart has been sensing. It is harvest time. Maybe you are wondering how to fully embrace this new season. The first step is simple: declare it. Right here, right now, take that bold step of faith and comment 777 below. Use that number as a prophetic declaration, a holy symbol that you are stepping into alignment with the reward God has prepared. Typing 777 is more than just pressing keys. It is an act of saying, I agree, I receive, I believe. When your faith meets God's promise, miracles manifest. And hear this: the tests you passed are your credentials. You might have felt inadequate, like you had nothing to show for the years you spent struggling, but in heaven's eyes, those struggles were priceless lessons that qualified you for your destiny. Every tear you shed watered the seeds of your breakthrough. Every time you forgave when it was easier to hate, every time you chose love over bitterness, every time you stood up for what was right even though it cost you, you were proving yourself worthy of what's next. Let me remind you of David, who was anointed king long before he wore the crown. He had to pass test after test, defeating giants, fleeing from Saul, dwelling in caves. He lived years between the promise and the fulfillment, but each test trained him to be the ruler God had called him to be. When the time came, no human hand could stop David from ascending to the throne. Likewise, no one can block what God has decreed for you. Your tests have prepared you for a position no one else can fill. Yes, you might still see evidence of struggle around you, but remember this: when a prisoner is set free, sometimes the chains remain visible for a moment, but they are already unlocked. All they need is a final release. That is you. You are free, chosen ones. Free from your past, free from every limiting belief, free from the nightmares that used to torment you. Step out of the cell in your mind and realize the door is open. The keys have already turned. All that is left is for you to walk. How do you walk forward? By embracing a mindset of expectancy. Stop bracing for the worst. Start preparing for the best. Stop anticipating another setback and start rejoicing in the God who lifts you above every storm. When challenges arise, remind yourself you are different now. You have passed the test. You have divine authority to speak to mountains and command them to move. You have the wisdom that only comes from walking through fire and not getting burned. When fear tries to creep in, point back to where you have been. Fear is no match for your testimony. Remind yourself of the nights you survived, the battles you conquered, the deep valleys that tried to swallow you whole. If God could sustain you then, how much more now? When you are stepping into this season of divine recompense, fear flees when confronted with your faith-soaked history. You are not guessing if you will make it. You already know you will, because you have the evidence of your past victories. Chosen ones, many people talk about blessings, but not everyone is willing to endure the tests that qualify them. You have. That means the blessings reserved for you are of a different magnitude. They come with deeper satisfaction and gratitude. When you start to see them manifest, do not forget your humble beginnings. Stay grateful, stay generous, stay focused on the one who brought you through. The tests were never about mere survival. They were about shaping a heart that truly understands grace. Look around and notice the subtle shifts happening. Opportunities that once passed you by will start to seek you out. Relationships that felt strained will either be restored or replaced with better connections. Your intuition will sharpen, giving you insights that align perfectly with God's will for your life. Do not dismiss these as coincidences. They are signs that the spiritual climate around you is changing. You are moving into a realm of favor that has your name on it. And let me speak to your future. You will be a beacon of hope for others who feel they are stuck in endless testing. Your story, your scars, and your triumphs will become the map they can follow. Because you refuse to give up, you will lead countless others into their breakthrough. Think of Joseph, who saved entire nations during famine, all because he passed the tests in prison, in Potiphar's house, in the pit. The reward was not just a personal elevation, but a widespread impact that changed history. This is how big God's plan is for you. It is not about a small blessing or a minor upgrade to your life. It is about catapulting you into a destiny that brings light to dark places. Every lesson you learned in the testing period will become fuel for your mission. Every sacrifice you overcame will become a tool to help heal others. Every sacrifice you made will return to you 100-fold. That is the economy of heaven. Right now, if you feel your spirit leaping, if something in you is awakening to this word, do not hold back. Type 777 as a declaration that you embrace this truth. Share this message with those who need to be reminded that their tests are not in vain. Speak life over your own situations and watch them transform under the weight of your faith. Heaven is searching for those who will dare to believe, who will dare to say, "Yes, I passed the test, and I am ready for the reward." Do not be surprised if, in the coming days, you feel a sense of urgency or a stirring to take bold steps. That is God guiding you out of your comfort zone and into your promised land. Do not ignore the nudges in your spirit. Embrace them. You have everything you need to succeed in this next phase. The time for timidity is over. You have learned courage in the fires of testing, and now it is time to unleash it upon the world. Remember that you are not alone. As you journey forth, there is an entire company of chosen ones marching alongside you. People who have also passed their tests, also waiting to manifest God's goodness in every sphere of life. Together you will form a wave of transformation, a mighty force that reflects the glory of the one who called you. This is the era of kingdom-minded individuals who carry heaven's solutions into earthly problems. You are part of that movement. Sometimes the reward feels too good to be true. You might think, could I really be stepping into a season this blessed? Understand that your Father in heaven loves to give good gifts to his children. He delights in watching you flourish. He is not holding back. He has been waiting for you to align with the reality that you are qualified to receive. So cast off false humility. Cast off the voices that say you are not worthy. If God says you are worthy, that is the final word. Chosen ones, pause and let gratitude flood your heart. Begin to thank God even before you see the full manifestation. Thank Him for the open doors, for the financial provision, for the healed body, for the restored relationships, for the fresh anointing, for the new chapter. When gratitude becomes your posture, you magnetize blessings. It is impossible to remain bound to the past when your lips overflow with praise. Yes, you have passed the test of patience when everything was delayed, the test of faith when everything seemed hopeless, the test of integrity when compromise seemed easier, the test of perseverance when quitting felt like the only option. You passed them all, and heaven is ready to honor that. Do you hear the sound of the Father applauding you? Do you sense the angels rejoicing? This is not a small event in the spiritual realm. It is a monumental victory. Think about Esther, who risked her very life approaching the king. She passed her test of courage, and the reward was the salvation of her people. Her name was etched into history as a deliverer. You too will leave a mark that cannot be erased. In your sphere of influence, whether it is in your family, your workplace, your city, or beyond, you will be a catalyst for change. This reward you are stepping into is not selfish, it is redemptive. It blesses you so you can bless others. Now that you are on the brink of the reward, guard your heart. Do not let pride seep in, thinking you achieved this by your own strength. Also, do not let doubt sabotage the blessings that are coming your way. Stay rooted in the knowledge that God is the author of your story, and He is orchestrating events in your favor. Keep your eyes fixed on Him, and no storm will be able to unsettle you. If at any moment you feel overwhelmed by the goodness unfolding, just recall the nights you prayed for this. Recall how you yearned for a breakthrough. Let that memory ground you. You are living in the answers to those prayers. Let your testimony shine bright. Do not hide what God has done, but boldly declare it so others can see that He is indeed a waymaker, a miracle worker, a promise keeper. Chosen ones, you have been tested in the furnace of affliction, and you have come out pure as gold. Like the 3 Hebrew boys who walked through the fire, you do not even smell of smoke. The heartbreak did not destroy you. The disappointment did not derail you. The betrayal did not embitter you. You have emerged with a softness of heart and a fierceness of faith. That is the hallmark of someone God can trust with great responsibility. Yes, responsibility, because reward and responsibility go hand in hand. There are assignments and divine tasks that await you in this new chapter. God is calling you to steward the blessings you receive with wisdom and compassion. He is calling you to uplift those still in the testing phase. You know their pain because you once walked in their shoes. Now, you carry the answers they so desperately need. Do not shrink back. Rise to the occasion. The same courage that helped you pass the test will help you step into leadership, into influence, into a realm where your life becomes a lighthouse for those in dark waters. This is what you were born for. This is why the enemy fought so hard to break you. He feared the day you would realize your potential and walk in your anointing. That day has come, and there is no turning back. When you lie down at night, instead of reliving past trauma, start envisioning the future God is unveiling. See yourself healthy, prosperous, at peace. See your loved ones thriving. See your community transformed by the love and power flowing through you. Let this mental imagery become your new normal. By focusing on God's promises, you create a runway for them to land on. You shift the spiritual climate around you. And now, as we continue this message, let hope and expectation stir like never before. You did not come this far to settle for a small glimpse of God's goodness. You came this far because you are meant to see the fullness of what He has in store. The test was never the end. It was the gateway to a glorious unfolding. Let your faith ascend, rising like incense before the throne of grace. Chosen ones, if you resonate with these words, if your soul feels them vibrating as truth, then take action. Comment 777 below to seal it in the natural realm. Do this in faith, believing that with each keystroke you are forging a contract with destiny. Mark this day as the turning point, the day your perspective changed from test taker to reward receiver. You have done your part. Now watch God do His. Do not be alarmed if you feel emotional. The tears might come not from sadness but from deep relief, from awe at how faithful God is, from excitement for the new roads opening before you. Let those tears flow as an offering, a testimony that you have been refined by fire and have come out radiant. In this vulnerable state you are at your strongest because your strength is rooted in Him. Think of a caterpillar going through metamorphosis. Inside that cocoon, it is tested, reshaped, almost unrecognizable. But once it emerges as a butterfly, no force in the world can stuff it back into the shell of its former self. That is you. You cannot return to who you were before the tests because you are no longer the same. You have wings now. Spread them and fly into the horizon God has painted for you. Let this also be a caution. When you step into a new level, new tests may arise. This journey of faith is ongoing. But the difference is, you are now equipped with deeper wisdom, proven faith, and an unwavering assurance that you can overcome. The same grace that brought you through the last season will sustain you in the next. Do not fear growth, embrace it. You were designed to expand, to evolve, and to conquer. And if the shadows of your old life try to whisper that you are disqualified, silence them with your testimony. Proclaim that you have passed the test, that you stand under the banner of God's love, that your future is not determined by your past, but by the one who holds time in his hands. Let your voice ring with authority, because you have heaven's backing. Every blessing that has your name on it is being released in this season. They were held in reserve for you, waiting for you to reach the point of readiness. The tests have proven you are ready. Now the warehouse of heaven is open, pouring out gifts tailor-made for your journey. Receive them with joy and humility, acknowledging that it is all grace, all an expression of divine favor. Yes, chosen ones, the test was real, the pain was real, the loneliness was real, but guess what else is real? The reward. The double portion inheritance, the position of influence, the fullness of life. It is not a myth or a pipe dream. It is your portion. So prepare your nets, because like Peter who toiled all night and caught nothing, you are about to land a catch so large it will defy your logical understanding. You may ask, how do I keep this blessing flowing? The answer is staying connected to the source. Keep your relationship with God at the forefront. Keep gratitude on your lips and generosity in your hands. When you make room for others, you expand your capacity to receive more. Become a vessel that God can use to pour His love, His provision, and His truth into the world. Pause for a moment and feel that stirring in your spirit. It is the Holy Spirit confirming that these words are not random. They are a direct message to your soul. Lean into that presence. Let it awaken parts of you that have lain dormant. Let it speak to your heart, telling you that this is the day you have long prayed for. Even if you do not see immediate change in the natural, trust that something monumental has shifted in the spiritual realm. Chosen ones, you have passed the test. Now comes the reward. This is your new reality. Embrace it, celebrate it, and walk boldly into every opportunity it brings. If anyone questions why you are so confident, tell them it is because you have tasted the tears, endured the trials, and found your God faithful. The next time you look in the mirror, let your reflection remind you of who you are, a warrior who has fought the good fight of faith and is stepping into the spoils of victory. This is just the beginning of an unfolding story that will blow your mind and bless countless others. Continue onward, expectant and unashamed, to claim every ounce of favor God places in your path. Let your life become living proof that when God promotes, no one can demote. When God blesses, no one can curse. When God gives, no one can take away. You are standing on holy ground. Chosen ones, you have passed the test, and now, with heaven's applause, you stride into a season of unimaginable grace and reward. You are standing on the threshold of a moment so powerful that one day you will look back and realize this was the turning point. Everything that once weighed you down is giving way to a wind of change you can barely describe. The gravity of your trials is being replaced by the grace of your transformation. The echoes of your past pain are being drowned out by the triumphant sound of promise fulfilled. You passed the test, and now you stand at the doorway where reward meets revelation. Imagine looking over your life and seeing every disappointment woven into a grand mosaic that glorifies the Creator. He is the artist, and each stroke of hardship was placed with precision. While you were in it, you saw only random brushstrokes, painful to the touch, but now that you step back, you can see how they form a masterpiece only divine hands could craft. This is the beauty of your journey. Not one tear was wasted, not one heartbreak was in vain. You might think, how do I hold on to this sense of expectation when the visible world around me hasn't yet caught up? Chosen ones, remember that the spiritual realm always moves before the physical. Seeds germinate beneath the soil before they ever sprout into the open air. In the same way, Your blessing has already begun to take form where eyes cannot see. The tests you passed acted as water and sunlight, nurturing your hidden promise. Any day now, the visible evidence of that promise will burst forth in ways that will leave you in awe. Perhaps you look at others who seem to have it easier, who appear to succeed without the same struggles. Don't let envy poison your perspective. The tests you endured forged depth in you. You carry wisdom and resilience that cannot be purchased or imitated. What comes next for you has a richness born of perseverance, an authenticity that superficial victories can never replicate. This is why your reward will not just be fleeting success, but lasting impact. You have been tempered like steel in a furnace, and nothing can break the substance of your character now. As you step deeper into this new reality, let your spirit become sensitive to the movements of God. Pay attention to what stirs your heart. Pay attention to the people who suddenly enter your life. Pay attention to the divine appointments that seem too coincidental to be random. These are the breadcrumbs leading you further along your path of reward. Follow them with trust, even if your mind tries to second-guess. Faith often requires us to walk in obedience without full clarity, and that is where the supernatural thrives. You might feel a gentle nudge to dream bigger than before. This is not arrogance or wishful thinking. It is God expanding your capacity to receive. If you remain confined by small expectations, you limit how much blessing can flow through you. But if you open your heart wide and dare to believe for the miraculous, you create a channel large enough for heaven's best to flood in. Think of Elisha telling the widow to gather empty vessels for oil. The flow only stopped when there were no more vessels to fill. In the same way, as long as you present new faith vessels, bigger dreams, broader visions, the oil of blessing keeps pouring. Yet do not forget the most precious reward of all, intimacy with the one who held you through the storms. Through the tests, you learn to rely on God in ways that shallow faith never could. That intimacy is priceless. While others chase fleeting pleasures, you have discovered the wellspring of life itself. This closeness with your Maker is what will sustain you, no matter what storms may come in the future. Even as you move into abundance, keep that posture of dependence, for it is in staying close to Him that your soul remains nourished. Chosen ones, let the light within you shine without apology. The world needs what you carry. The tests you passed qualify you to speak hope into despairing hearts, to stand as a testament that victory is possible. Don't hide your story, share it. Let people see how far you've come, and let them marvel at the God who guided you. In doing so, you multiply the impact of your reward. It becomes not just your personal triumph, but a catalyst that ignites faith in others. You might still wrestle with uncertainties, wondering if there's another hidden test waiting. Yes, life is full of challenges, but don't let that dampen your celebration. The tests you've already overcome are proof you can handle whatever comes next. Every victory sets a precedent for future battles. Once you've conquered the lion and the bear, Goliath doesn't look so intimidating anymore. Celebrate the milestone you've reached, knowing it only increases your capacity for greater conquests ahead. If at any moment the enemy tries to whisper that you're unworthy, recall the price that has already been paid for your victory. Your worth isn't measured by human standards, but by the divine love that pursued you through every valley. That love kept you when you felt unkeepable, called you when you felt disqualified, strengthened you when you had nothing left. That same love is now propelling you into a life marked by favor. Let that be your anchor, if doubt attempts a comeback. Some of you will notice an acceleration in every area. The job offers or business deals you've waited on will come in rapid succession. Relationships that were stalled will begin to move forward. Ministry or creative pursuits will flourish beyond your wildest dreams. This quickening is the manifestation of your harvest, Like crops that suddenly shoot up after a period of steady watering, your prayers and tears have nurtured the soil of your destiny. Now that you've passed the test, the growth is inevitable. Allow yourself to be undone by gratitude. Let it pour out of you in words, in song, in simple moments where you whisper, "Thank you, God," under your breath. Gratitude is the posture of those who understand grace. It keeps you humble, reminding you that none of this came by sheer human effort alone. Yes, you played your part, but it was God who orchestrated the outcome. Gratitude also keeps your heart sensitive, open to receiving even more of His presence. There is another dimension of reward that awaits: restoration. Things you thought were lost forever, time, opportunities, relationships, can be restored in ways you never imagined. The God you serve specializes in redemption. He takes what the enemy meant for harm and turns it into something that enriches your life and the lives of others. The tests you passed were also seeds for restoration, preparing you to appreciate and steward what is about to be returned to you. Expect your creativity to ignite, expect your passion to surge, expect fresh ideas and innovative strategies to flood your mind. During your testing season, some of these areas felt stifled, but now that you're stepping out of that place, it's like a breath of fresh air filling your lungs. You'll find that solving problems, connecting with people, and executing projects come with ease. This is the efficiency of divine favor at work. Chosen ones, as you walk in this newness, be intentional about who and what you surround yourself with. Environments matter. People can either fan the flames of your faith or quench them. Gravitate toward those who challenge you to grow, who celebrate your breakthroughs, who hold you accountable to your highest self. If you must release relationships that hinder your progress, do it with love, but without hesitation. Your future is too valuable to be compromised by connections that don't align with where God is taking you. Be mindful that your reward is not solely about personal gain. It's about carrying kingdom solutions wherever you go. When you see a need, don't hesitate to fill it. When you sense someone's burden, lift it if you can. Your blessing is a resource not just for your comfort, but for uplifting those still trapped in their trials. This is how you perpetuate the cycle of breakthrough. Freely you have received, now freely give. Notice how your perspective shifts when you adopt this outward-focused mindset. Anxiety lessens because you realize you're part of a bigger story. Loneliness fades because you see how interconnected our journeys really are. Pride diminishes because you know your achievements rest on grace. Everything you do now becomes an extension of the gratitude and hope you carry within. This is the lifestyle of someone who has truly passed the test and comprehends the responsibility of reward. Continue to speak life over yourself. Daily declarations are powerful. Tell yourself, "I have passed the test. I am walking in divine reward. My future is bright and my impact is significant." Let these words saturate your inner dialogue until doubt finds no foothold. If negative thoughts arise, counter them with these declarations. You are no longer a victim of your circumstances, but a victor standing in the promise. When you lay your head down at night, envision the next steps of your journey. See yourself thriving. See your family covered in peace and happiness. See your dreams unfolding with holy momentum. Let this visualization become a prayer, a point of contact for your faith. Rest in the assurance that while you sleep, God is still at work, aligning people, places, and timing for your good. When morning breaks, greet the day with expectant joy. Tell yourself, today is another step deeper into my reward. Opportunities will find me. Breakthroughs will surprise me. God's favor rests upon me. Walk with your head high, not in arrogance, but in the confidence that your destiny is secure in the hands of the one who carried you through every test. That posture of confident humility makes you unstoppable. Some of you have a calling that involves leading others. You might be stepping into positions of influence, perhaps as a mentor, a manager, a community leader, or a spiritual guide. The test you passed was essential because now you can empathize with those you lead. You carry real compassion, forged in the fires of your own hardship. This makes your leadership authentic and deeply impactful. Embrace that role without fear, knowing you have the character to handle it well. Others of you will be called to pioneer new things: business ventures, artistic endeavors, inventions, or non-profits. The test you passed sharpened your ability to persevere. Start laying the groundwork. Sketch out plans, consult with wise counsel, and above all, pray for direction. As you move, watch how resources and partnerships materialize. It will feel almost too good to be true, but remember, you have stepped into your reward season. Uncommon favor is the hallmark of this era in your life. Still others are called to rest, to heal, to let God's love saturate you until every scar becomes a testimony of grace. If that's you, resist the urge to rush the process. Rest can be a reward, too. It might look like taking time off or stepping away from the relentless busyness to focus on your well-being. Your spirit will be renewed in this sacred pause, and new revelations will unfold as you wait in His presence. In each of these paths, the common thread is that you've stepped into a new dimension of inheritance. Like an heir who has come of age, you're now accessing what was always rightfully yours. The testing phase was your maturation, your proving ground. Now, the storehouses of heaven are unlocked, and you carry the keys. Let that truth humble you, but also let it ignite you. There's no time to waste in unbelief or hesitation. Chosen ones, let excitement bubble up. You are crossing a threshold. The sounds of the past, those voices that once told you to quit, are fading into the background. A new chorus arises, proclaiming, "Well done, faithful one. Enter into your season of increase." Embrace these words. Let them resound in your spirit. You are not an afterthought in God's plan. You are a centerpiece of it, crafted for glory and goodness. Yes, the tests were real, the pain was real, but so is the reward. So is the joy that defies logic, the peace that surpasses understanding, and the love that fills every gap. So is the divine provision that will have you saying, "Look what the Lord has done." So is the restoration that multiplies what you thought was lost. So is the expansion that turns your humble seeds of faith into a forest of blessings. Comment 777. If you receive this in your spirit, if you acknowledge that you stand on the cusp of transformation, if you dare to say, "I have passed the test, and I am ready for the reward." Let this public declaration energize you and encourage others who read it. Let it mark this moment in history as the day you locked arms with destiny and refused to settle for anything less than the fullness of what heaven has ordained. And as you continue on, let your words and actions testify that you serve a God who makes the impossible possible. Stand tall as a testimony that no trial is wasted, that every desert leads to a promised land, and that every sorrow can birth a song of triumph. You will be amazed by how quickly life changes when you align with this truth. What seemed blocked will suddenly become accessible. What felt heavy will become light. The seeds of breakthrough will germinate, and you will walk in a realm of favor you once only read about. Keep your heart tender, your ears open, and your faith unwavering. There are more blessings on the horizon than you can currently comprehend. The tests you passed expanded your capacity for greater glory. You are not returning to the old version of you. That person no longer exists. You are stepping into each new day as someone who has proven their loyalty to the process, and you will now see the fruit of that loyalty. If you ever doubt or feel a moment of weakness, remember this message. Remember the day you boldly declared you passed the test. Go back to the moment you typed 777 and reaffirm your stance. Let your mind revisit every victory God secured for you, and let it rekindle the fire of faith within. You are chosen, you are tested, and now you are triumphant.